We're not here to bash you. We're
No,
here to-
I'm just sharing my personal
Yeah, we're
experiences.
here to explain,
Yeah,
what we think we bring to the table.
yeah.
Okay. We are good to go. We're, meeting is started. We were waiting on Rex. It is now 5:32.
And Dom, you have my presentation up, then, right?
It's in the background. I'll share it as soon as we get to that part.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually, yes, we're on free. Because, who's, doesn't count right now. Bill doesn't count. He's the liaison. Come on. Zoom in. To Zoom. Oh, who would like this one then? Rex, not here. We have corn. Three. Yeah, we have one. We do. With three. Tom, Daniel, and yourself, sir.
Can I have a second from Tom or Daniel to accept the notes and start?
Second.
Previous meeting.
Previous meeting minutes, you guys all read them? Yeah, have you guys read them? Are you guys all in agreement?
Yes, I did read them. And in agreement.
So is John.
Yeah.
Next is owner comments. Oh, someone's knocking. Thank you. I think we have one more person coming in. That was Breck. Breck is here. So we'll hold for a minute until he joins us.
Andrew
Hi,
said
Breck.
he's also
All
on.
right, we just started. We are now at owner comments.
Any owners on that one?
No additional owners, no.
All right, can I have a second to adopt the agenda? Second.
So moved.
Discussion items, Smart City.
Give me 1 second, stop sharing. Are you guys able to see the presentation?
Yes.
All right. Well, we greatly appreciate your time this late evening. As somebody who's been on committees of HOAs before, I give you guys a lot of credit for creating a group like this, a technology group. It says a lot about celebration and what you're always trying to look for and achieve. So some quick introductions of who we've got in the room tonight. So we have Marty Rubin, who's our CEO and co-founder of Smart City Telecom since its inception. Marty's still with the organization. He can talk a little bit about our history and what we've done here. We have Gene Keeley, who's Senior Manager or Director of Engineering. So from the technology side, everything we've kind of done over the years and continue to do and plan on doing in celebration. We got
Andrew. Yes.
and we have Bob Collins, who's on our sales side and specifically for the last more than a decade has been committed to the celebration of the commercial businesses as well as the MDUs and the residents. And I'm Lee Lenosi. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing. I do a lot of business development. And so I'm a rookie at Smart City Telecom with just a little over 6 years. But it's a great company in that it's amazing the longevity of our employees. So, some 135 employees, and I think in the last 2 years, we've got multiple people with over 50 years at, the Smart City / Vista Telecom who, still stuck with us. And so, with that said, we'll jump right in. There'll be a lot more stuff for folks to read going forward than we'll just touch upon, but we did want to share some stuff with the group and make sure that there's some packages there if you want to open them up for the slides as well. So now if you'll hit, page. There we go. So I'm going to turn it over to Marty to share a little bit about, our history and what we've done over the years. So, Marty.
I'm gonna be brief, just gets the high points and tell you about things you may not know. Basically, in 1965, Walt Disney decided when he was laying out Epcot and Walt Disney World, they wanted its own telecom company. So that's how we came about. It was in 65. The company wasn't really, he passed away in 66. His brother Roy O. Disney then signed the paperwork that created what is now Smart City. Back then, we were called Vista Florida Telephone back then. And what Walt instructed us and his brother to do was make sure that we provided the technology, particularly for Epcot, but the technology that would change the world. So in 71, we went live at that point, and we were very, very focused on new stuff. So just go very quickly what we did. We built the first fiber optic network in the United States for commercial. The bell companies that used it for central office, we were the first to say, let's use fiber optic from the central office to a customer. That occurred here. We were the first company to deploy 911 in the state of Florida. Now everyone does it, but decades ago, it was not an easy thing to pull off. Most municipalities didn't want to do it. It's nothing but cost, but we pulled it off. It's particularly interesting for us with 911 because how do you deal with a street inside the Magic Kingdom? I mean, there's lots of complexity, but we pulled it off. We were the first all digital telephone company in the state. We were the first telephone company to decide to go completely underground plant. As you know, you don't see wires. We've been underground for over 55 years. We've been strictly underground. So all that was logical when the decision was made to build Celebration that we be the telecom. Back in the day when the designs were made, and many of you know this, that there's very little room in the alleyways in terms of the cabling. So the decision was made for me that where the Smart City would install the fiber and the coax, not the fiber, it's the copper and the coax, and actually leased it to the cable company, which was Jones Centric Cable. So that's how we handled in the back there. And then going forward, we kept on innovating. Celebration has been a very big deal for us. We've grown from just being here that now we're in 16 states and District of Columbia. So we have, Nick mentioned 135, we have multitude more people from here to Honolulu at this point. So we're in many, many different locations, heavily focused on the hospitality industry, but our national headquarters here in Lake Buena Vista. I live here, actually lived in Celebration for a short amount of time, come here regularly because I'm close enough. I think almost the entire management team probably lives in an HOA. So we have an understanding of Florida HOAs. They're all a little bit different. They all have a certain character, and we appreciate what you have here. So we've been we think an integral part of Celebration. We've taken it to heart. It's very, very important to us. Only a couple of minutes away driving, and our techs have been here for decades. So in terms of our growth, I'll turn to Rob and spend a couple of minutes what's happened as we've grown from just serving Disney to other companies in the area.
Sure. So as Marty said, my name is Rob Collins. 16 years ago, Marty fulfilled my fond dream of becoming a telecom sales guy. Since I was a little boy, I wanted to do that. So he made that come true for me. No, but in all seriousness, I came to Celebration or to Smart City, not knowing a whole lot about telecom, but they needed someone that was dedicated to Celebration to come into the businesses and the residential needs of the community. At that time, you knew it was primarily all DSL at that time. Some of the first folks I met was Advent Health, who is obviously has the big hospital there. To come into their needs, they are a 24/7 obviously shop. They need dedicated bandwidth all the time at all times. They relied heavily on the needs of Smart City, so much so that we brought outside of the walls of Celebration with Advent to become not only a internet provider for them, but a partner with them. In addition to that, Osceola County has relied heavily on us for the needs of the libraries, both here in Celebration and outside in Osceola County. Not only that, but also the fire station that sits over down on the avenue or across from the hospital, and also the sheriff's station. I was here day one when they broke ground on David Weekley Homes, the Mattamy Homes for Island Village. Worked heavily back in the day. A lot of you guys have been here a long time, so you probably didn't remember the names Pat Lawson, Steve Waring, all those folks. Very integral relationships with every one of them. Patrick Dumais used to be on the committee, and a lot of these folks relied heavily back then to get to know them, understand the needs of Celebration, and have grown a lot through it. So I've seen a lot, heard a lot, I've done a lot. If you probably ask almost any person that has any sort of business in Celebration, they're going to mention my name at least one time. Oh yeah, we know. So definitely have become an integral part of the community, and with Marty's help, hope to stay that way. With Smart City.
Thanks, Rob. Again, my name is Nick Lenosi. I oversee the sales and marketing for Smart City. And the reality is, at one time, this was just kind of our main and only territory other than Celebration and Disney. And that was back in the days when we referred to it as an ILEC, an incumbent local exchange carrier, where now we have expanded our network with some 800 miles of additional fiber all the way to the Space Coast. So we do both residential and commercial businesses across greater Central Florida, again, all the way from Brevard County to Seminole, Osceola, Lake, Hope, and Orange counties. So the network has grown so that it's not just kind of the old ILEC territory, but it's what we call the CLEC territory, the competitive local exchange carrier territory. And but our focus is still just on Central Florida. Other than, as Mary shared, we do have services and offerings in a lot of other states, and it's mainly in the convention business side. So as you can see, Orange County Convention Center is one of our very large customers. And we're the main telecom provider there. So with that said, the one thing that I want to, that you're hearing and that we're going to stress is that we do know that since 2001, this has been kind of our main focus. We have dedicated techs here, 4 to 6 of them almost every day. We made our van say Smart City Telecom, so that everybody can really understand that, this is our market, this is our home. We truly understand that, that there's competition. We know that there's competition out there. But all of our back office, everything is right here. From our network control center to our customer service groups, to our technicians, to our full operations, our executive team, it's here. It's in Lake Buena Vista. So this is our home. This isn't, we're not based in, I used to run the White House, 15 years ago, where, they're based in Connecticut or New York, or CenturyLink, which is in Colorado, or Comcast, which is in Philadelphia. This is our home. This is where we've cut our teeth. So with that said, go one more, please. So as I shared early on, this was DSL network. Coax, for the better part of more than 10 years now, we've upgraded the plant. I'm sure, if you've been here 10 or 12 years ago, you probably saw the construction activity that probably took place. It's not the most fun kind of job. And we know that, that aspect for us is done. We've built this out. Everything else we do going forward is really just electronics behind the scene to upgrade the network continually. So it wasn't that many years ago, of course, where folks, about 100 meg was more than sufficient, right? Or way less than 100 megs. Where now, we're, at least in certain areas, we're offering 10 gigs. And for commercial customers, we're offering 100 gigs of service. So, that's what our network is all capable of.
Drive used to be 12 meg.
Right, yeah, it's more
I've
12.
been here a long time.
Remember that name?
I remember Warp Drive.
12 by 1?
Yeah. No, going up? No, it's DSL.
If you're lucky, you can get work 24. You have to be close to the D snap.
Yeah.
So, here's the tools in the room, as well as, we mentioned our director of field operations, Ken Carrera, who's not here, but really oversees this plant and all the technicians that are dedicated to Celebration. So, next up. So this kind of just shows you a little bit about our fiber network here in Celebration. It literally encompasses the entire area, including Island Village down at the bottom, phase 1 and phase 2. So we jumped on the opportunity right from the get-go with Mattamy Homes. We built out our network, and we've had enormous success with the residents of Mattamy Homes. Phase 1, and then phase 2, we did the same thing. We got out ahead. We made sure the network was there, so that when the first folks moved in, service was ready. And so I'll explain a little bit more about what we offer in Island Village that we don't offer to the rest of the community yet. So next. So I'm mainly going to turn this over to Gene, who's our person on the technology side of what's been deployed here, and what we hope to do and will be doing going forward. But again, Celebration is one of the first fiber to the home 1 gig communities, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. So, Gene, you want to touch upon some of the technology stuff we've done and the improvements coming?
Sure. So again, I'm Gene Kelly. I've been in community since 2003, but been in IT before that. So I have over 30 years of experience in it. I was given the task. I'm the tech guy, so I'm not very good at non-visuals. We'll go to the next slide in a minute. Yeah, there we go. So the task I had in 2014, I still had the original drawings and the conceptual drawings for it. So I was tasked to build out the layer 2 and layer 3 aspect of Celebration. This just gives you an idea of our backbone, our internet backbone. Everything ultimately goes to the internet. So I was going to emphasize, kind of how we're laid out. We have multiple core locations. Lake Buena Vista, our main office. Celebration, we have the cell hub here, Celebration Hub, we call it. So we're near the hospital, I think. And we have a site in Maitland, which is where the internet side came from, where I moved from. We have multiple peerings. We have some transit peerings on a couple of them. They're both 100 gigs. And we have multiple 100 gigs to Atlanta for direct peering. So if you get Netflix and any of those, contents, it comes directly. It doesn't go through, several different places. So
that's a pretty important point. Hopefully the folks see as far as the usage, the fact that you direct peer, directly with Microsoft and Google and, Netflix and the others.
So that's why if you trace route, I don't know this, if you trace route to any of those,
there's very few hops because we direct peer with them. You'll see a couple of our router hops, but then you're right there at the provider. So the major locations here, Island Village being the newest, the pops that are there also have routers and GPON equipment. So our network's full GPON from day one. And then Island Village, we decided to go with XGS-PON because it was new, it was proven technology. So then we'll move on from there and go toward the home. Do I have any questions? Anything, you go ahead.
Next slide.
Yeah, next slide, sorry. So moving on, we have a full Calix network. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with who Calix is. That's all they do is GPON, XGS-PON, and fiber to the home. And some cyber stuff, but all of the chassis are Calix. All the ONTs are Calix, and the gateways that we provide are also Calix. Some of y'all may have 836s if you're fiber into the home. That's basically what that is.
Yeah, so the ONT is really, just so you know, that's the device that's sitting inside anybody's home that, you know, is one of our services via fiber.
So each one of the switch port on these layer 2 switches over here, each one of these switch ports is an OLT. It's called OLT port, and it's a single strand that comes out and goes to a split network. It's basically just fibers welded onto or heat fused onto other fibers. So you send light to one and 32 get, so, and vice versa. But the technology in the GPON and the PON is the reverse traffic, down traffic going toward customer is 2.5 gigs natively. Coming back to only 1.5. So there's some collision avoidance and stuff that it has to take into account. I have on it. So it's fiber all the way to the ONT. And then for some areas with the Ethernet to, you know, from an IDF, like one of the apartments or thinking in Sienna, but we go to another switch there and then we just convert to Ethernet to get all the way to the apartment. So that's generally the single family home stuff. And I can show that you can leave there. The customer supported gateway coming out of the ONT, it's just an Ethernet port that has DHCP and anything to plug up to it. You could plug a laptop up to it, not suggested. Plug up something with a firewall. So for this, I was wanting to show so Island Village is XGS PON all the way. It's 10 gig PON, 10 gig up and down symmetrical. But for retrofitting for future, all that's needed because we have all the fiber in the ground. We utilize the fiber. Fiber can handle many different wavelengths. So what they do is XGS just works on a different wavelength. So they put what they call a coexisting element in between. So it comes that chassis right above the bottom one. That goes into the coexisting element. Basically, it just adds that wavelength. It's a 2x1 splitter though. It's just fused together. It adds that wavelength into it. So then all that's required on the customer end is just changing out the ONT because it listens or sees on that wavelength instead of the other ones. It just ignores the GPON wavelength and now using that. So now you can go from 2.5 gigs down to ultimately natively 10 gigs if you want to do.
Okay.
Next. This is the kind of the services that are offered here in Island Village. And there may be some differences. This is an old slide that I created for the marketing. So it's just showing the ONT itself. The OLT port is the back at one of the hub sites. Showing an ONT there that converts it from GPON to Ethernet. Coming out of it is just a bridge connection that you can plug anything up to. We have our standard devices that we provide. If the customer don't want to provide them all. And of course, those are full managed through our NOC. Our NOC has full visibility to all of those, so we know when they're up, down, and it has a full gambit of services that can be offered. And of course, we have some meshes too. These things natively will support a mesh unit that once you pair it with that, you don't have to hardwire it. I'm showing hardwired on each one of them. All of them are the same mesh unit, but the hardwire is if you have a wire from, let's say, the media panel or wherever your ONT is, outside or upstairs, wherever. Or you put one of those things, once you pair it, you can just plug it in anywhere in the house, wherever you, and as long as it's halfway between where you want your, yeah. Is there enough?
So all of those are available today in Island Village. In the rest of Celebration today, just the top one.
Yeah. Yeah, the two bottom ones, they both use XGS PON. The only difference is the ONT itself has a 10 gig LAN as opposed to a 2.5 gig multi-rate LAN connection on the other one. But the technology itself is the same, it's just what it delivers on the LAN side. And then, of course, the two towers there, the gateways, one of them only does 2.5 gigs WAN, one of them does 2.5 or 10 gig. So you could use the bottom one for the other one. It has a little bit better radio. It's a 6x6 Wi-Fi 6, and the one above is only 4.5, 4x4 antennas.
Okay,
I have a question.
But it can do 10 gig WAN and LAN on that bottom.
thanks, Gene.
Yep.
This marketing kind of a slide here, just kind of what we try to tell our users about the abilities of fiber and why we think it's, not only just a more reliable, it's a much more ability to allow the folks to do the gamers or the various streaming methods that are out there these days. So, like I said, we push a lot of different marketing folks, not only to Celebration. Hopefully we haven't inundated, everybody too much with some of our mailers and all. But it's kind of our story with what we believe our fiber is capable of doing and why going with fiber. I always say I will never move into another community that doesn't have a fiber-based backbone network. It's just, I'm lucky where I live, unfortunately it's not Smart City, but it's Lumen and, the fiber works well. Service has, been fine once it got up and running. So, I think we're all happy when you get a fiber-based service experience.
We have a question from Tom Hall.
Sure.
Go ahead, Tom.
Could you just go back one slide? Our audio is occasionally breaking up. And what I think I heard, somebody asked the question is, which of these are available to us today? And I don't think I heard, is that the question?
So all of them are available in Island Village, both phase 1 and 2. Today, only the 1 gig, the top row is available throughout the rest of Celebration. And it's available literally to every resident. There might be some that have never had the connection inside the house, but that's fairly simplistic for us. The backbone's all built out. However, we know, and that's why we're going with the XGS PON, that we don't know where tomorrow's bandwidth needs are going to go. And so it's part of our roadmap already to upgrade the Celebration network across the board so that we're able to offer 2.5 and 5 gigs of service, with the future going to 10 gigs, and who knows what will be capable over time. But
Even to the older parts of Celebration. Okay,
Yeah, so
I think that's one of the questions that
yeah,
they were asking.
what's the time frame for?
We know a lot of things are available to the Mattamy area, but
yeah, no,
what is the legacy
yeah, no,
Celebration?
The legacy is capable of the 1 gig today. There might be, we found out that, clearly there's a few places in like Water Street condos where, in the past, they wouldn't allow us to run our wire, you know, in a breezeway or anything. So there's a few homes there that might have some restrictions, but it's very minimal and it can be done as long as we can get that HOA to allow us to do the wiring necessary. But
I think the important thing from our perspective is the ATS proves we can do it with
Yeah.
this plan. We can drop it in. As a side note, the take rate right now is low. I think probably zero.
for the 2 and 5 gigs,
Yeah,
yeah, I think
there's no demand here for it. We just don't, but once there's demand, we can just hop in. We don't have to dig up, we don't have to bore underneath, sidewalks and driveways. It's a matter of talking electronics. It's just there isn't a need for people to have 2.5 gigs. The reality is, I don't know how many people really fully use 700, 800 megs,
Yeah, everybody in this room actually does, but I don't, and I can raise my hand and say, I've definitely called in to the Too Smart City multiple times and asked, hey, what, any news when we're getting 2.5 or getting 5? Well, it'll go out in the marketing if we ever decide to do it. So I know that there is a silent group, not just everyone seated here, but
Yeah.
there is a growing number of people who are asking about the higher throughputs and higher speeds.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, we got our first few Island Village 2 gig and 5 gig customers just in the last week. Now, some of the other communities that we're in, we've seen about a 5% take rate for the 2 or 5 gig. But yeah, so it's.
That's good.
I think it's an additional $10 for 2, and I think from there.
Sign me up.
It's another 50.
I'm an artist.
That's it?
I'll be your first guy, and several of the guys on the call right now, I know will also sign me up. No data cap.
Yeah, I'll be a
I
second.
was saying, part of these, we know we can
Yeah,
swap out electronics. We don't
that's,
just,
yeah.
We'll get back.
Ultimately, it can go up to 5 gig GPON, so fiber for fiber it can support,
No, I think the.
I just need an excuse to upgrade my
my fiber equipment to 10 gigs, so.
Yeah.
There you go.
Same thing. I've upgraded it. I'm ready. And we're the guys that actually want the fiber to go directly into our unified green machines. So if we can get an SFP on, just basically, we don't even want the ONT. We want the fiber to go directly into our equipment.
easily done. That's, you just put your equipment in the center, that center lane there, and it's, we can get a DHCP and at town hall.
Yeah.
And ultimately, as far as the legacy area that doesn't have the XGS, the limitation is the equipment itself.
Right.
The GPON itself can do 2.5 gigs at the OLT port. And the ONT itself only has a 1 gig connection. So we chose, when we built this in 2014, it was easy, we didn't have to put any kind of rate limiting or anything like that. It's just whatever that port can do. So, and there's a little bit of overhead for sure, but whatever that port can do, I have to,
ONT.
yeah, like what policy we put on it? Nothing.
The other thing I just want to mention is that as a corporate philosophy, we're into everyone's privacy and all those sorts of things. We have no interest in, selling information, or only time we ever get involved is if we get a note saying that someone's downloading movies illegally or doing something else. So that we can care less what people do in terms of, so we are very big believers in private use of the internet. Except everybody, disobey the rules.
When you heading up to Windermere?
We're in parts.
We're in part, so funny story, my subdivision, they asked on the meeting sometimes, they want to do another single family home subdivision, test, and I was like, I'm right on our fiber going up Avalon, and, so our subdivision is modeled after what's here in our village, so.
Yeah. All right, next. So this, we just kind of talked about it, but this is what is available. These are our packages today. Like I said, the 2 gig is only today available in Island Village, but we'll definitely take, the what we're here today to try to speed up the roadmap and see what all the capital numbers have been formulated on what it's going to take and what we need to do to upgrade. So, right person's in the room to approve that. That's the good news.
I gave him the,
Next.
and it was fairly simple. I mean, you insert the chassis, coexisting element, change the inside.
So again, for the past 10+ years, Smart Cities offered, competitively priced fiber internet. We also offer voice and Wi-Fi services. Of course, our whole is no video services. We've clearly looked at it in the past. At one time we did offer it. We still had one very large customer, call it Advent Health, not this location, but one of the other hospitals. But the whole video content world has changed dramatically. And so we do realize that, a lot of times our competitor wins because somebody's still very comfortable with their video package, and we understand. And we also know that a lot of them might have their video package and still have our internet, right? So we're all about competition, and we get, what everybody else wants to offer. That's fine. So I wanted to touch a little bit about what our offerings today and what we do in the marketplace. So for the most part, our residential single-family home or townhome communities all play like Celebration, where the resident is our customer. We do have bulk, what we call bulk packages. They were today mainly been for the MDUs, the apartments. So for instance, Evander Square inside of Celebration is our customer in a bulk package where the developer pays us a bulk fee and then, distributes it out. What we do know and what we see in the marketplace, not just in Celebration, but we do bulk outside of Celebration. Again, just for MDUs today. We do hear some residential communities asking about bulk, but they end up, and I go to many board meetings for gated communities. They get a lot of pushback because there's always a handful that even if the price to the HOA might be cheaper than our regular retail, folks just really push back against a bulk deal due to they feel like the competitive side is going away, or they may not want somebody else's bulk deal. But I'm saying, we have it available. If that's something that, this entire community of 4,500 plus homes today, plus, what's coming in the future in Island Village Phase 2 and 3. Again, we think it's difficult for communities, especially this size, to have a bulk deal. But I don't want to say that bulk isn't something that, if it was something, whether it was in an RFP or a demand, we'd surely look at it. One of the things that, I've been able to do a bunch of research on is today we have, about 3,000 residential customers in Celebration. And that doesn't include our MDUs like Evander Square or Astoria. So I know they're not part of the FROA numbers, but they're part of our numbers, so when we throw those on there, we're well over 3,000, almost 4,000 customers. What we know is that our competitor has probably about 700 customers. And so what that really means is there's probably, unfortunately for us and our competitor, there's probably about 1,000 residents, believe it or not, if the numbers are totally accurate as far as how many homes and units are here, that don't have either us or our competitor's package. Now, it doesn't mean, they could still be using self-service or, the home's empty right now or has been sold or renters or, they have some kind of satellite package. We even see on our competitive list Vice that offer services in Celebration. So, there's other means, of course, but there are some 1,000 residents that have neither of the two large, internet providers service. So if you do a bulk, you might really get a lot of pushback from 1,000 residents who are like, we don't need either of them. We don't want either of them. And if you charge me a bulk fee and increase my HOA fees, I don't want it. So again, it's just something to think about. We're really surprised that there's literally that many non-internet users in a community that's technology savvy as Celebration. But those are the facts, unless the other numbers, we know our number, we know that, roughly how many residents are in here. So that's just a little bit about what we're able to do or could do if necessary. So next slide, please. So, in kind of a conclusion, we believe, the residents have made, their position pretty clear in here by choosing Smart City. We do surveys, we make sure that our folks are continually asking the right questions. And, we believe we have 4 times the number of customers in Celebration. And why? Because they trust us, that we're there, not only when the network's in perfect condition, but we have outages. Hopefully, you guys haven't felt them too much, but it does happen. Especially if the power goes out, we can't control power. And it seems like, many times when we get notices, it's power related.
Or better related.
But again, hopefully we're there, and by having dedicated techs who really know this area, we get out there quickly and we help get it fixed. Marty's brought up times where in the past, Marty, quickly, they've been so comfortable with our technicians.
Yeah, but just give me a key and tell them go in the house.
Yes, it said,
Please don't do that.
A little too comfortable.
Yeah.
But, it kind of shows, what we're about and what we do here. Lastly, one of the things that, by the basis of the fact that our network is built out, we do know that, with the size of your easements and the amount of construction that it would take to bring, it would not just be the current providers. It would shock me, based on what we see across, that in the next 1 to 5 years, somebody else may want to come into your community, right? And they have, whether it's Verizon or Frontier, or, in Polk County, or AT&T, or Spectrum, all of them have the ability tomorrow to just say, we're going to pull permits and we're going to go Google. And what we know is that disruption of overbuilding networks is and can be painful. So when we overbuild, like Gene's area, we have supervisors sitting there making sure that when we hit their sprinkler system, we quickly correct it. But I'd love to say we never hit a sprinkler system, but we do. We want to make sure we don't hit the major pipelines, water and gas and reclaim power and all of those things. But, just so you're aware, and I'm sure you are, that the way the market's going out there would not shock me if you find a 3rd or 4th or 5th competitor throughout Celebration. And it concerns us only really because of the disruption if they hit our network. So it wasn't that many years ago when somebody wrecked our new fiber network when they came in. And we know that we can fix it. But it's just really not only the disruption of the fiber backbone, but all the residents, the work that needs to go from the right of way easement to do the drop to the home, to do the wiring inside. It's a long process. I mean, to this day, if we get a new customer who hasn't had our service ever in that unit, there's still a wiring aspect to get it built. So, again, I believe it's coming, that you're going to have more competitors potentially looking at your community, and we're ready for it. We understand competition. We know that we might have to compete in a different manner, but we're not fearful of it because we know what we've done and what we'll continue to do. But so we'll open it up to any questions at this time you might have about Smart City, or future plans, or where we're going. We'd love to answer any questions.
Guys, put much consideration into just basically with more people telecommuting, working from home, and also with the advent of not just streaming, but high definition streaming, 4K streaming, things like that. It's very easy to achieve data caps. I think every one of us who has Smart City appreciates that it's not strictly enforced unless there's
Yeah.
skewed usage, let's put it that way. Whereas let's say your competitor does closely monitor it, you get to that 1.2 terabyte threshold and you get one warning and then after that, it does become a fined situation. A lot of the people at this table probably, and I know a number of other folks in Celebration that are tech.
Yeah.
We actually do have both providers.
Yeah.
Purely for redundancy, because some of us do mission critical work from home. But then also we have people, we have in-laws and folks like that we love that are using our guest houses that stream TV all day. And I can tell you, having both providers, it's very easily for me to hit data caps on both sides. So just in consideration of, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but
Yes.
thoughts of data usage going forward and what does that look like and represent?
So we've clearly had, a lot of dialogue over the last year plus on understanding what the marketplace is doing with data caps and what our language originally said with data caps. As you said, we've had vague language in there about, monitoring and stuff, but we've never really done anything about it other than when it gets to a certain level, we've sent out notices and it's been more to, make sure that person, maybe not even know they're hitting the data cap. You're very tech heavy, but we find folks that have no idea why the number is what it is. How are you doing 54 gigabits of data? What is he doing? Like, all I have is, an iPad and,
And it's the equivalent of a toilet.
For some reason.
It's the equivalent of a toilet running all day long. Like what happened? Okay, you didn't realize that PC that was 12 years old got hacked.
Compromised.
It's a bot. It's part of a botnet and you didn't know it. Oh, look at that. It's going, there's Bitcoin running through that thing. Yeah, we get it. We get it, but just.
Our data center. Something. What's this person doing here? That's been mine.
But yeah, just your point. Yeah.
When we send a letter, a few people find out things are running that they have no idea is running their system. So they clean it up. The other concern we have is more of when you're eating up that much bandwidth, you'd be affecting your neighbors.
Sure.
And that's, the tricky part of it is that we don't want to affect, the performance of your neighbors because you're running at this massive level. And particularly you're running because here we know that you're running something on your system, you know it's there. We have people that are IT naive, and when they're, the child comes home and takes looks, it's, oh my gosh, you're running, this was installed in your system and it's eating up so much bandwidth. It gets cleaned up.
Yeah, but overall, we don't have a data cap.
Yeah.
We don't shut anybody up and we don't charge for the extra. And it really is kind of where, other than, a few providers who've kind of gone that way.
I think we all appreciate that.
Yeah, overall, that's our method and we don't have any plans of changing that. But we do monitor it. We do, make sure everybody's aware if somebody is. And I think it's normally when they're over 10 gigs of data. That's who that we put something out there.
Until it gets abused and it's honest, as far as that's concerned. And we've ran through some what ifs, what if this person does just use a lot? What do we do? If 2.5 gigs, we could put that particular ONT on another one that's lower usage, just so it, it evens out, but I don't think we have done that yet. And since 2014, had to move an ONT from one splitter OLT port to another one to balance out the usage. So,
Okay. Whenever my 15-year-old complains he's lagging on the game, I check my router and it's still 900 down from you guys, so it's like,
Yeah.
What's on that thing? Yes, right. Maybe Twitch and
it's dad who has to dial down.
oh yeah.
We impose our own bandwidth caps internally on the LAN.
All that, that
I've
board.
had a teenager before.
Install our own DNS servers and.
No, yes.
It's not good.
Looks like Tom has a question down.
Yes, he does. Go ahead, Tom.
Yes, does Smart City own the coax that comes to each of the houses?
Coax.
Yeah, the coax.
City owned the coax that comes to each of the homes.
Well,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
yes,
that.
originally, yes, but then Comcast, built out their coax network. So the interest is not at this point, not the word,
Coax in any,
we could,
There's still some coax in the ground, in the doggy houses, but we also have fiber into, so we utilize kind of the same conduit system.
the coax going from there into somebody's home.
We don't own that. Anything from the road to the house is drawbacks that they have. We ran the hybrid HFC coax.
can we answer your question?
Okay, well, I'll tell you why I'm asking that question. You've indicated that you have 1,000 customers that don't have internet at all in Celebration. And Don probably knows this number better than I do. How many residents do we have that live in townhomes or in our condos, for example, in Artisan Park? And where I'm going with that is my information may be out of date at this point, but I used to live in a townhome in between 2005 and 2019, and we had coax and we had fiber. However, Smart City wouldn't install the fiber. I actually installed it myself, which is kind of weird in itself. And the reason that they wouldn't install it was because it required drilling holes through fire stops in the townhomes. My guess is that it sits that way to this very day, that those people who live in those townhomes or condos must use coax if they want internet. So tell me, I would really like to know I'm incorrect in it, but if I'm not wrong, what's the plan to fix that? There's your 1,000 right there.
Well, again, the 1,000 don't have us or another provider. Based on the data that we've been shared and heard from your last communication. So there's clearly some folks, that we don't have fiber to their unit. We know Water Street condos a problem. That's why I'm sitting here showing how many customers I have in Water Street condos. I do that as a percentage, it's lower than the rest of our market. So I've been told that there's some locations that because of the drilling or because of the fact that we were going to have some interior kind of places that,
We're located in the IDF of, let's say, one of the Water Street places, all the condos upstairs. We're located in the IDF. We tried to pull the Cat 3 cabling that is going to the unit back through the conduit, but they found that the conduit is not congruent. It doesn't actually go all the way from there to there. Other than drilling right on the side, getting into it, it was not feasible to get, get in there and to go, Cat 5 over Cat 3 is just Ethernet over Cat 3 is just
and it's not, from my understanding, it's not that we weren't willing to do it. We're willing to drill the hole.
right.
And also, I think that HOA or that management property, that section didn't want it done that way. Rob, do you remember any of that?
I don't.
Now, as far as the Artisan Park question, is it the townhomes past the house area? Is that considered the townhomes? For the big buildings?
Well, there's townhomes and there's condos back there, and about half
Yeah,
of
okay.
50% of residents in Artisan Park live in condos or townhomes.
That area specifically is, there's Cisco switches, regular standard layer 2 switches in the IDS. And there was existing Cat 5 that goes to the unit from there, that our voice travel.
Okay.
And there are some units that are more than, obviously, with Cat5 or Ethernet, you can't run more than 300 meters or 100 meters. And there are some units that are top floor all the way over that it pushes those limits, that it won't sync up a gig to.
I was gonna say, they can get something, but they may not get it.
Right, right.
So, I got stats, so Artisan Club condos, there's 302 units per what I've been told. And we have 182 customers, so we have 60% penetration, so we have a pretty decent share of the condos in Artisan Park. But to your point, there may be some units or something that maybe we're not able to get a gig or, got to offer. I don't know that condo association well enough.
Well, my point really wasn't addressing Artisan Park. I came out of Green Lawn Townhomes, and there's a group of 4 townhomes, but there's a lot of other townhomes in that immediate vicinity, and these were all built by ISA. And my firsthand experience was that Smart City would not install fiber in those townhomes, even though we had a raceway. Because once it got into the house, there wasn't power available and they would have needed to drill through a fire stop. Luckily, I had a friendly installer who said, hey, we can't do it, but I'll give you a roll of fiber. And when you get it done, let me know and I'll go to lunch. And that's how it got done. But I wonder how many other people in that area, this is in the East Village area are, have the same situation where they must use coax.
Okay.
So it's just an academic point. I was keying into the 1,000, but now that you've told me those are 1,000 people that don't have any service, okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
I think we all understand why no one would want to use Comcast. We all get that.
Yeah, and as far as to your original question, do we own the coax? In definitely Artisan, we don't. So we couldn't even put internet on the coax. We'd have to put a different type of DSLAM or DOCSIS device there to get and use a cable modem to do it. We just don't have that equipment. We don't use that. So it would have to be Comcast if they do have internet and coax.
We do have a question from Daniel.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, regarding the backbone, do you guys do any sort of like traffic shaping depending on the kind of traffic is being directed to transit? Because I've been testing some of the cell companies and some of them do that when you do the like Netflix or other things, and you can bypass that with the VPN. But I wonder if that's something you guys do.
We do not.
All right.
You can call us net neutrality neutral.
Yeah, not net neutrality, but neutral.
We don't do any kind of rate limited. Now, we'll do a class of service depending on something, but not based on traffic.
Okay, thank you.
The backbone that does have some class of services for control to make sure routing is working, but for the most part, there is no traffic shaping part for that type of traffic.
Thank you.
I have a question. Being that you guys are predominantly here, what other technologies are you planning for this neighborhood or this town, I should say? What would you bring up to this neighborhood, to this town, other than just providing, internet services? Are there any other like neighborhood Wi-Fi?
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, so at one time, prior to myself, at least the downtown area, we had some, Wi-Fi stuff. And so we've looked and, we're willing with better understanding of what is required to kind of do a community Wi-Fi. Of course, power is very important and where the access points would need to be. But we're more than willing to look into that and see what it would take. Probably have to spend a bunch of time with the Oregon and some other folks with UDOM to understand, those requirements.
Yeah, as far as, heat, where do you want the coverage? What kind of, Wi-Fi do you need? We can do,
We have some residents here who, for me, it would be a lot of the areas where there isn't real Wi-Fi coverage. Parks, in the parks, within the parks, or the bigger parks anyway. Where we don't have any amenities. And the walkways, that walking path between Island Village. Where does it end up, in East Village, the walking path?
Where is it?
Or is it towards Artisan?
It goes on Artisan
In Island Village, where does it go?
and high school.
Our
Yeah.
Artisan to like south of the high school and then high school.
It's in various areas, like even we have a smart spot at Clubhouse and Artists. So yeah, I remember, yeah, and if you were resident celebration, you just put in your celebration resident ID, log in, password. You got Wi-Fi downtown,
Yeah,
all around, which is very nice.
yeah.
I installed that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so we did get flack from the restaurant. Yeah, that's where we became friendly with them because their issue was more bandwidth and people would sit at the table and their table turns were not adequate, given the rent we're paying. So they asked us not to do it. So there was this, so I don't know if I spoke with Tad or Steve about it, but they definitely were not thrilled about it. So we're.
Probably a different day,
open to-
different time. Now
Now
they, all the restaurants have their own Wi-Fi that
Right.
guest networks that they.
So we're
hand
just
out, so-
sensitive. So we-
Sure, yeah.
We go get that enforced it, this community, we spoke up, so we're willing to listen.
To piggyback on kind of the same topic, one of the things kind of had a discussion about is to sort of better integrate our infrastructure for the community. Is it possible to have like a dark fiber network that's has our various facilities connected so that,
Yeah, so, Bob has been, working with the group for a long time, providing free circuits to all these sites. So we have fiber to pretty much every location that I think is important for Crow and the gang. And, so we have dark fiber and, we do have the ability, or depending on the real needs, I mean, what I find historically after 37 years is a lot of folks want dark fiber. Now, this gentleman is astute enough to say he doesn't even need the UIT, so he's here. Because so many folks want dark fiber, and then when they get it, they realize managing it and doing everything else is not as easy as being fiber seems to be. Yeah, we have the ability to provide you with dark fiber, or maybe there's something else we can do with the network that we do provide you. If you really don't want to manage dark fiber, but you've got other limitations, we're more than open to being creative around that. And so, yeah, we have no problem. We know that if you've got dark fiber, then you probably need internet, IP transit, from those locations. So for us, it's, it's pretty easy and we have plenty of dark fiber, so we can definitely, give you that solution and make it well worth your while if dark fiber is really,
Yeah, I mean,
what the technology I really believes he's gonna have.
yeah, it would definitely help in certain ways, and obviously it's double-edged sword. It would remove the remote administration for each location. Granted, someone cuts the fiber, it doesn't matter if it cuts the fiber dark or lit, it's going to go. I'm gonna lose my network from the thing about it. So, for me, what we're doing at town hall, we're building it out so that it's able to handle corporate wide bandwidth being hit with so much traffic and data, where so that when we do explore further and further with more technology and being town hall being the hub of everything, we want to make sure that we don't have to worry about individual locations with different inputs to our network. So with the dark fiber, we're certain only have one entrance, well, the one location for entrance to the internet and into our network. This way,
It's probably not about bandwidth, right? We don't sell you a lot of bandwidth at the locations, probably are minimal. Like
So,
50.
we have 500 in our location, and then our town hall was a gig. Looking to probably jump that to 2 gig
Okay.
or higher, with 2 different
Robson.
routes in,
Yeah.
so just in case one gets cut, we have another route in. Yes, that's for our future home. We will need to probably have you guys take a look at the cabling there. To make sure when the builder touches it, to bring it over into our IT room, that you guys will be saying, yes, they did the right job, or you guys want to do it on yourselves and put.
It's a new location, right?
It's in, it's the opposite wall. It's in a room across the wall where it was currently stationed. What else? That's pretty much it.
Gene, did you have a question on the?
No, as far as obviously he can work, talk about the dark fiber, but, the versatility of the GPON network, or the PON network, I can easily create, ONTs that don't have access to the internet and put them on their own VLAN. So you have, a router here, ONT, you have your IP address scheming, and everything's on its own network. And then once it gets to your main location, the internet. And I can get stuff that may not have dark fiber to one of y'all's, wells or monitoring station, but if we can get one single strand there with the ONT, put it on that network, and there you go. It's like, oh, that one's only part of your network. So all of them are on their same VLAN.
Because we have like pump stations and.
And then those go through the CDD, I believe,
Yes.
Yeah.
We won't touch those yet.
But you can put a router on the centralized ONT, this makes your multi-WAN. Put your router there, each location has its own 10.010, 10.020.
Yep.
So
That's how I have.
so it's all routing traffic, so you don't want to put it all in the same VLAN, or same collision.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we keep doing,
Okay.
that would be as hard as the prices it does. It should be done.
It's like flash rates, smart city everywhere. Big smart city next to Celebrate.
Yeah, that would be, I guess, the other question is, since there's opportunity for sort of, I guess, promotional awareness to kind of help break, get that additional 20% or whatever, as an incentive to provide services to the community, so.
I'm not sure, the additional 20%.
The customer that you have.
Yeah, no, we're constantly, trying to see what we can do. I mean, unbelievably, we have about 400 or 500 customers who have voice services with us.
Do you still offer pots?
Yes.
I'm just curious, that conversation has come up in several, that topic's come up in several conversations. Like, is it all exclusively VoIP at this point and it converts, or is it, do we actually have pots?
The grid.
One,
Yeah.
territory, so
Okay.
the C20 switch.
There you go.
Okay, I was curious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's
it's
like,
very
you'd be surprised how many times that topic actually comes up. Like,
So in theory,
Almost every
there's this voice line that's on each one of these ONTs.
Yeah.
It's POTS line, so.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Just look for the-
Yeah, we disconnect the POTS line that's there and run, just deliver via SIP back to that char switch. And it's just standard POTS line.
We have 500 customers who only have voice. We have, another 1,000 who have voice and internet, but it's amazing that we have customers that's, don't have our internet or anything else and just have, a line. And it may be for their alarm or whatever else.
Mhm. Fire monitoring or elevators, any number of things like that. Sure.
Any other questions? Comments?
I have none.
I'd sorry, take the next step for we're advancing, looking at, like at the community Wi-Fi, and things like that.
Yeah.
What are our next steps? And then,
So I'd love to get with, the right people, with Tom or whoever wants to, for the community watch. I think it's just us understanding what we have to do and where we have to do it. So to me, that part is really simplistic. Same thing with the dark fiber, somebody like Gene, making sure he understands it. So those are things we can easily do. Again, the upgrading of the network, understanding that there is potentially a need, that's what we're looking for. And that's what we've been trying to gauge out of Island Village to see, we built it that way, so, is there a demand for it? Like Marty said, it hadn't really come to fruition until recently. But it just depends on the users, right? Your point was, that how many people work from home these days, and what they have in the home isn't, what it was 6 years ago, pre-pandemic. So
I think people just don't know about it.
Yeah, the ability that we can go above and beyond.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, some of the residents are concerned more about kids on e-bikes than they are about things.
they're definitely within legacy celebration, if you will. There is a growing interest for multi-gate service. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I felt.
yeah, I don't know from your perspective, I know, that this kind of came about, just for us understanding, what's going on. We're, again, if there's some other kind of demand, we're willing to understand. We take a lot of pride in this network and making sure that, that we're here to, be the trusted provider. So, this is as important to us as anything, to make sure we keep you guys updated with everything we're doing. And if there's something else that we need to, be looking at, we're more than willing to take a look at it.
If there's a marketing packet, and possibly I can bring this on to our comms people and the comms committee, and have them take a look and see if it's something they can do or, allow through. I know we do our own businesses within Kiowa, but I don't know if we get outside vendors to do advertisement other than sponsorships, things like that.
Yeah.
So we.
So what would the path be to get the rest of the celebration up to the newer?
Yeah.
What would that take?
That's a Gene to say, what's the activity? I know what we've run the capital. What is how long does that take to do? What we got, how many nodes that we have to go? So it's really upgrading the nodes, right?
you can pass the offering plate around the table right now. We'll buy the switch.
Well, that's my.
Yeah.
What you're saying, if we did a proof of concept, you would want to be on the split, that split.
No, but that's a business purpose, though. You have to see the need or people want for it from the residents. I mean, but
Well, that's the only reason we've hesitated. Like it's all of our other new communities, or the new ones, we've just kind of gone with it from day one with the XG's plan. So we know that it,
I think a lot of
People are satisfied with smart cities. I think if a higher speed was offered and you guys, I think, have very fair pricing, it was, the additional tiers were still offered at a reasonable price point.
yeah, they are very.
I think
With the communication, you could.
Let me give you an example. Our team worked on digital IDs for 2 years. We just got it 6 months ago or last year, really. We go sign up for it. And there's the naysayers and kind of still go to meetings and say, nobody wants it, nobody wants it. Because nobody knows about it. I go around, part of my coach, and I tell people that, and people are super excited about it because they know about it. The people that are the naysayers are the ones that the people just don't know. They don't need to digital option, right? So I think that's the key, communication. Everybody that I know was loves that.
Just hearing what you guys are saying, to me, that's what we've been waiting kind of. I mean, again, we've done all of the homework on what it's gonna take. Gene, how long would it really take to upgrade all of Celebration, all the nodes? I want to
Let's have all the numbers, but, let's say I could do one chassis, can do 16 splits times 32, 16 times 32. Okay. 2 weeks for that one. I could do it. And
And how many of those do you have?
There's probably 24 chassis.
Okay,
I mean, we didn't get a poll. I mean, I think I had like 60 to 75 devices on it. Without my 14 years friends coming over and stuff, right? I'm on WebEx, my wife's on Zoom, we're streaming on all the Apple TVs, all the devices are connected now. Everything's like IoT's all over the place. So just making people aware of that, and from your video conferencing for work, everybody's on Wi-Fi calling in their homes also when they walk in the doors, people just don't know.
Is there a way to get a survey of people to?
Yeah,
well,
like I said, we can do our.
that's kind of the story we're telling with how many people, how many devices people have. I haven't heard of 50 or 60, not that I don't believe it. But we know that on average, we're seeing 15 to 20 devices easily.
Easily my network, and I'm in a small, I have 3 people in my house. I easily have 50 devices every single day between IoT, that, guests coming in, and, yeah. So,
64.
You have lights like.
Yeah, right, I've.
You know. So anyway, I mean, it's a budget that, you know, we will talk about tomorrow, but, you know, we can start kicking it off, you know.
We can do Survey Monkey plus, like, if you send me a marketing package.
Yeah, we already worked with Survey Monkey and we pushed, we asked you guys for your input on, you know, the questions we're asking.
See, I would have you do like a note to the community on the Friday flash or the Monday matters. And say, how much bandwidth are you using? How many devices are connected? Are you doing video conferencing for work? Would you like to double your speeds for minimal cost? You know, and we want to know because we want to enhance everybody's experience here in Summer. I'm telling you, the feedback and response will be through the roof. I'm telling you.
yeah, and put it on back porch.
Yeah.
It needs to be on the Facebook page, because that's on the Facebook group, because that's what everybody needs.
You know, my wife would love me. Does that mean?
All right. Well, definitely, we're very interested. We're glad to hear that. That's why, you know, we're trying to future-proof these networks. And as Gene started out by saying, it was built that way so that, you know, it can continue to scale.
I mean, just how many 4K OLED TVs now are in celebration? Pulling down even more data. Netflix has more, you know,
I think, what do we, on average, we get about 16 gigs of traffic on average daily here in Celebration. So we monitor how much traffic.
Gigs?
So,
That's all?
yeah, that's it. Believe it or not. On average.
It's the peak or the.
Per second.
Yeah, second.
Oh, okay, okay, not total transfer, okay.
No, if you were to take
Per
a,
second, okay.
yeah, so at any point in time, the examples are logging, it looks at it and says, what's the bandwidth for that particular port or traffic, and it's only 16 gigs.
Gigabits or gigabytes?
Gigabits of traffic.
Gigabits.
And not like transferring.
Yeah,
files.
yeah. What?
It's 16 gigabits of traffic.
Gigabits, okay.
So you have 1 gig at home, it's only 16,
Yeah.
all the residents.
Wow,
That was-
It's a weird
that,
number.
that's astonishing that it's not
So-
higher.
That's
Yeah.
why we're always, like, it kind of goes back to the 1 and 2 gigs. That honestly, you guys are probably a lot of the anomalies.
Without a doubt.
But it continues to change. I can tell you, we supply the internet for Seminole County schools. And so 2 main hubs, everything comes back to. And we, on a given afternoon,
Double what you
we're
want.
testing 12, 14 gigs.
Yep.
For the schools.
Both
Now-
locations.
Now, unfortunately, your 3 schools here, we're the backbone, but Osceola County went with Spectrum, but Spectrum doesn't have cable fiber in here. So Spectrum buys circuits from me, big circuits, and then we just transfer, you know, the Metro E back to them, we hand it off to them, so they buy the IP. So I couldn't tell you how much actual usage is out of your 3 schools, because again, I don't do the IP, I just transported for Spectrum.
I think that goes back, it's really the genesis of one of Tom's questions that he asked earlier was, who owns the coax, you know, backbone, if you will, because, right, you know, if you guys had it, then Comcast essentially leased the bandwidth off of you. here in town, right?
Only
If I remember correctly from a
Not
long
that-
time.
It was just a lease of
The equipment,
the copper and the node.
but it still had to go through, the data still had to go through the plant, right? Or no?
They had head-ins that they terminated in,
Read the notes,
right,
the, whatchamacallit,
the arc and the amplifiers. Or the board itself. But they had the head in that terminates with the video and also the cable modem, so. And then they have their own internet that does nothing. We just leased them the last.
Got it. Okay, thank you for explaining that. Appreciate it.
That's no longer, right?
No, that's why I came and built this and built all the fiber.
right, and return the all those notes.
Now, one last, we got asked if there's, there was a question regarding the property. The, where our hub site, where our cell hub is located. And, I guess we back up to a maintenance shed. So there's a lot of history to that easement that we were given. Marty, you want to quickly address what we do and
Yeah, well, it was built by, building by Disney, working with, the CCD at that point to own the land. So that was before my time, and then we acquired, the building from Disney in 2001. And my understanding is the CCD transferred the land to Crowa. I don't know that, I guess that occurred in 2004.
If you have any documentation or anything showing us that, so we can.
You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so basically, there was a question that came up, referencing the management maintenance shed that's out by Artisan Park, close to Artisan. So next to it is, there's the city, I would say, their bunker. So, the telecom bunker right there, and it came up, I guess, in some question for either in one of the other committees, and they were trying to figure out how Big Smart City get that spot. And I'm assuming either legal or whoever couldn't find the information referencing that, so they were asking if you had any reference.
So I can take a, I can tell you going back then, because I could just remember back to 2000, 2001, that the land was owned by the CCD and Disney had permission to build, which they did. When I say Disney, I can't tell you whether or not it was the Celebration Company or Disney who built it. It was not much of a building. You know?
Right.
And then, as I said, I'm pretty sure the CCD then transferred the land to Kroger.
Okay.
And then the shed, the maintenance shed went up.
so Crow would own the land still, probably?
That's my understanding. So it's been 20, I think it's 20 years Crow's owned the land. I don't think it's recently, I always thought up until it was raised up, I thought the CCD still owned it.
Right. No, I didn't even know who the CCD owned it. I thought it was always Pro, so, or didn't.
Yeah.
Before.
So, yeah, it's our upside, it's terminates.
The copper terminates.
If you have any paper track.
Okay.
It's documented properly in our record as well.
Okay.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Sorry, we went over a little bit.
Well, that's all right. Yeah, no, you guys have, thank you.
I
And,
know.
Yep, we'll definitely get back to it soon.
yes, thank you for your time.
Do you need us? Or you- we gotta wrap up our meeting.
We're gonna wrap up our meeting. Thank you guys for your time and,
Appreciate it.
thank you for internet, bring on me.
Oh, you don't need it?
No, decision was just made that I told. Now she's public. Not part of it, nice. We're gonna do that next time. So we're already happy with Alex. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, if you guys ever want to sponsor anything, Contact, I'll. I talk to me and I'll do my phone calls.
Pleasure. Yeah, 4 years until 9/11. I've been with Apple for 24 years. Yeah, I still have my 5 sitting in my office. There's 2.6 on it. Oh, wow. Nice meeting you.
It's fine, thank you.
Are you, yeah, I was like, I know this guy from somewhere, but. Very nice. Did you ever go to DISC?
All the time.
Hey, I might have seen you there, because that's
Where a bunch of my team works at it. Back in the day, I haven't seen they go, they, you know,
Oh, yeah, sure.
Hey, thank you.
I think we have one other item on the agenda, but, we're two pieces of. Really going over, so.
So one I have to add is the 2025 achievements. So, we don't have to go over too deeply here. We can just email me any achievements that we've done that we've. I may not remember, but I'm supposed to foundation, but any other things that you feel that should be added to the achievement. I have all the management side of the achievements that I'm gonna put in there. But then there's, obviously. Digital IDs, the new ID design, all that stuff. Just added.
We did the Wi-Fi here in Africa. Is that Smart City? And the one back to North Village, put some stuff.
Yeah, it was before me, I think.
Yeah, it was, but there's still left, right? There's still running. Smart City connected to them?
Every internet connection we have is all by city.
Okay. I was thinking of achievements, because that was one of the ones we did before he came.
Yeah, no, we need for 2025.
Yeah.
That was 2024. Okay.
Who do we have still on the line?
Sean, sorry, Daniel and Tom.
Okay. One of the next item on the agenda was to discuss the, I guess, the camera program. Fusion. County, so. I had invited Sean, because he's got some background on how that program operates.
I've been working with the sheriff's department on Fusus already. We've had a couple of Fusus cases that.
I don't know, I want to be aware of everyone's time, so, if we don't have enough time to have the discussion, I suggest that we table it for next meeting.
yeah.
Sean, is that okay with you? I don't want to.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. I apologize that we ran over time.
No worries.
I'll take blame.
So I'll just give it you, Don, I can make sure that's on the agenda for next month's.
Okay.
And then that's the next item is community outreach. I sent out some emails. I've not checked in the last couple of days. See if I've gotten any kind of new response. I know you and I kind of talked. I don't, you said that you.
Yeah.
Spoke to one person that.
I think everybody was concerned with holidays, so.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just time to.
Okay.
Reach out to everyone.
So why don't you and I talk offline and then we can kind of synergize on. trying to close this one out.
Sure.
It's,
So what did we do with the software with the Rec Pro? Did we replace that?
Yes, Rec Pro was replaced with Daysmart, which is the new parent company for Rec Pro. But that is being looked into getting, that getting replaced, but fix it up better, make it more useful for the team to be able to use.
Rec Pro.
It's Rec.
Rec.
Right now it's called, it's not even called Daysmart anymore. It's called Dash. the company changed the name.
Remember, we were talking about integrating RecPro into, I forgot the name of the software that we were talking about. Yeah, but
And we had to caution because, it was gonna take them 18 months.
right, it's a lot of API.
Free time, and also was free, so I was gonna, when they have free time, so. Oh, Daysmart came up with a better solution, saying, here, we got a modern product, use that. I am looking into another product, called Odo. It's for the management side to help, consolidate a lot of different processes, but one of the benefits is the portal, for the resident kind of gets combined. So I'm gonna talk to them about Celebration app that we use, see if we can API so that they can get to the portal in one place. And I mean, you still have to go open to the Celebration app side, but at least you get it from within our portal. And this way, when residents buy products and things like that through Dash, it'll be seen there and they don't have to go logging into different places. It'll be in one place. One of the things that I'm hoping to look for with this product is that the Friday Flash, Monday Matters kind of stuff, not only do you get it in your email, but if you want to take a reference look at it and you go to your portal, click on the link there and it'll bring it to you in that portal. To try to help get that vision that you guys had before, trying to get that one single path. I don't think I can get everything in there, but I can get a lot of the pieces so that everyone can start, maybe you lessen on different places they have to go. And definitely have within that portal, the ability to go to, one link, click, say, oh, I just have to go into this, our Celebration website, click on my name, and it'll have the boxes for me to go to the different locations for the things I need. And then they can always bounce back. So that's what I'm hoping to do with this company and see if they can provide.
And we've had some heated discussions over some of the breakfasts. Knock on wood, I haven't heard you bring up once GoGov, so I assume it's running smoothly.
No, GoGov is, residents, on that site, this belongs to, CCD, and.
Because that was supposed to go, we had some battles like you wouldn't believe, because they wanted that to go into ONR and the GoGov, which again, like I wanted to make some notes.
Yeah, I mean, if it's an open API, this company that I'm talking to, they can definitely help with integrating that piece in, and even if it's just a simple ability to just bring you into the app. GoGov, fine, at least it's one place you're going to get to it. You don't have to remember a different website every time.
The fewer points of entry that a resident has to deal with.
Right. At least all your reference points.
And the back end, the key end was that the back end people would get the information.
Yeah.
That was the thing. If I file a ticket for my, not going on the road and this light, and then who's it going, how long it gets there, and who's sitting there watching, and somebody look at it like a week later, and you sit wait. So,
Yeah, they bring pretty good. We're, not sure if you met our new, director of, maintenance, Luis. He's on the ball. He's been getting things done. The tickets coming in real quick and he's getting them done real quick. He's really on the ball. I guess that's it. I mean.
yeah, the other committee, and again, I'm going to road this is, for the, it seems like the inspection teams have been more lenient for the homes, which I'm happy about. I mean, I know some of the rules changed. And I know you can go into the GoGov, and if you put something in, it will get you. The other flip side of that I think is happening that I see is people are breaking some other rules that it almost feels like you guys aren't doing anything about it. Meaning like just trailers parked on the street now and stuff, and
We've tried, I think I actually heard one of my other members, we bring it up to the Osceola Police Department because it's a city street.
and it was when I reached out, they said it's a Kroger rule though, like parking like big trailers or boats, whatever on the street. That's a Kroger rule, it's not an Osceola County rule.
But no, it is, no, we don't allow, we don't want it.
Right.
We'll call the police department, say, hey, you guys gotta tow this. When they come, they come. It's what I'm understanding. It's, we will call it out. We will get the complaint. We would work on the complaint. But if the police department will come out,
Yeah. Does that, would that be a go-go ticket?
And I can get that answer for you. I will ask Spirit. Yeah, I'll ask that question.
Because there'd be, like, I'm sorry, just another 30 seconds, like, they passed that law, you can park your work truck in your driveway now. Like, that's Florida statute, but now people are parking on the street, which is different.
In my community, I have the same problem.
Yeah.
We're all complaining about it. We call the police, but they don't show up.
Yeah.
They're not tow truck people.
Different topic, just kind of reminding about this. Who controls the system for violations and whatnot?
Smart wipes?
I think that's, yeah, so I understood that there was a transition recently and I was talking to my wife about it, and she's like, why are we switching to yet another new platform? One, like, we were like, I think we got a letter for something, it's just like, well, how do you find out where to go? Like, I couldn't find any information on Smart Webs.
So
It was this was maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, not a problem, but it was just the fact that they transitioned to a new platform and there was like really no communication about it. And how do you get to it?
It doesn't show up in our like Real Manage Sierra Net portal.
So the SiriNet got retired.
well, SiriNet is still there.
Well, the one, I guess for the violations. and-
For the violations, it's moved to Smart Webs, which was what Celebration was using before Real Manage came in. So with Real Manage said, well, we have this product, but Celebration requires different types of violation rules and things like that SiriNet couldn't handle, though accurately as well as Celebration wanted it. So what I'm doing, those are already wheels in turn for moving back to Smart Webs. So when I joined, those were already being changed back then. So we started a little over a year ago. So that means you guys never had a violation, which is great. But now if you have,
And then it's back like, I think, August or something like that, just.
yeah, and anything like that, you have any questions, you just go to resident services. They will point you in the right direction. Every resident should have access to the Smart Webs portal. And that's why I was talking about the mobile, there's so many portals for because we're trying. I want to try to get at least one pointer, you go to one place and it brings you to all the other ones when you can. So, and if any questions, just if you still have an issue, let me know and I'll.
I just was more about just the background of the transition and.
The transition.
And communication, yeah.
It was done on the board. The board agreed it, the.
Okay, then I think it's just kind of awareness thing of having, like you said, on the website, a centralized place. and kind of.
In Money Matters Friday Flash, I think towards the bottom. they had that.
I would just know to look for that.
Yeah, I like everyone here has said, we've talked to the comms people.
Yeah.
Saying that you need to reorganize it, and that's one of the things I'm hoping with the app, the Odo app, creating the email to be more web centric. So that it spans outwards wider instead of that little book leaf. That makes it so long to read, at least if it's wider, you can fit more, you can see more in one click or one turn of a mouse wheel. And you can be able to see what you want right away instead of having to like scroll and say, okay, I'm done scrolling.
Or just have like the highlights on top so you can see. New web design, click that and takes you down to the bottom where it goes.
Yeah, that's bookmarks.
Yeah, like, a lot of websites now do, when they write news articles, they give you a
Table of contents.
table of contents. Just click
What's
on
it?
those and there you go. Right. We can probably talk to the.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's like emails now, you tell people, don't, if it's important, put it on the first couple sentences of the email, not at the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah, there's so much to read and try to keep up with. Yeah. Oh, 100% agree with you. Yeah, it needs to be just quick little.
Digital ID, just click and take it out, say it again.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
table of contents at the top of everything.
Yeah.
What interests you? There you go.
I don't think that's best, or that's a great idea, we can just bring the table of contents out, but that'll help.
Yeah.
with the scroll.
Yeah. Oh, totally agree.
All right, no, we're going over time, so, any comments from the guys on the phone?
Or is the Daniel? Yeah, Tom, then, any questions, any other comments? And once.
Looks like Daniel has a question.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm good, sorry.
Oh,
All right, can I get, I guess, a motion to adjourn?
nobody's moved to adjourn, but I second it when it comes.
Thank you guys for attending this month.
When's our term in March?
I don't know if it's March or April.
It's
March.
Last year we pushed it another month
Okay.
to get it. Forgot why we did that. We extended it a month or something.